Hey all you crazy cats and chicks out there, this is R to Z coming at you with a quickie. Now unless you're living under a rock, I think you know what today is. Yep, Halo 3 comes out. Well, I'm not one of those people that thinks today is like the second coming of Jesus. I'll get my copy of Halo 3 when I'm good and ready. What I wanted to talk about was a game that hit the stores a couple weeks ago. If, for some reason or another, you can't get your copy today, I'd say pick up this game instead. It's Bioshock, baby. To put it simply, it's like Half-Life 2 with less weapons, more power-ups, and set 47 years in the past, hundreds of fathoms under the sea. Well, let me tell you, this game did first-person shooting a real justice. You play some unknown guy named Jack, whose plane just crashed in the mid-Atlantic. From there, you're delivered to an underwater city called Rapture. This is where the game gets pretty twisted. The first thing you see when you get delivered to the city is some guy getting brutally murdered by some spider-looking creature. Apparently the whole city went to hell, and your only guide out is another guy named Atlas. He talks over a shortwave radio, so he's pretty useless other than giving you some advice. Anyway, other than your standard weapons you can pick up at any time, there are also power-ups called plasmids that give you supernatural powers. These include, but are not limited to, electricity, insects, fire, wind, water, and heart. Okay, maybe not those last two. You also get a killer telekinesis power, which is oddly reminiscent with the gravity gun from Half-Life 2, except you're not as limited by the objects you can carry. Throughout the game you'll pick up different recordings of people that used to live in the city, as well as scientists in their research, and getting an earful from the great Andrew Ryan, who gives you his 2 cents about free enterprise. The premise of the game is survival and doing what Atlas tells you to do. You also get to reroute your genetic code along the way and make yourself more powerful. Do this by collecting the genetic material Adam from Little Sisters. Those are the creepy little devil children that are surrounded by huge hulking beasts called Big Daddies. The amount of Adam you get per little sister depends on if you kill her or rescue her. If you decide to rescue her, this will affect the outcome of the game, and vice versa. As for the graphics, well, I mean, look at them. Clearly the developers were paying good attention to detail. In fact, the graphics are so good, I'll bet you $5 you won't even know you started gaining control of your character within the first 5 seconds of gameplay. You'll just think you're watching a cinematic. The sound was executed almost perfectly in this game. It's creepy to hear the splicers talk in their little schizophrenic mannerisms all the time. Plus, accents and lingo seem to work pretty well in this game, especially in the tape recordings. I'd highly recommend turning up the volume and turning out the lights when you play this game. The control is pretty straightforward and makes good use of the trigger buttons for your plasmids and your guns. Oh yeah, speaking of the guns, every gun you get in the game has 3 different kinds of ammo. Like the machine gun has armor-piercing rounds and anti-personnel rounds as well as the normal rounds. And all the guns can be upgraded. And these aren't just wussy little upgrades like, oh, you just got 12 more hit points or whatever. You can actually see the upgrades and they look pretty freaking cool. So this game not only looks good but plays pretty well too. Like I said, if you got the money and you can't get Halo 3, I'd say pick this one up instead. You probably won't regret it.